Yeah, okay. So then when you get to the cardinal, you're projecting cardinally, you're going to push out what you're into. You're going to get people pushing aggressively back at you in your response. And when you take it in, it's going to come in assertively. And then that dynamic thing, that dynamic response will challenge how you feel and what you're going to do from your feelings. It's how things go into you. I got to fix this. I got to do that. I can't sit on this. They have to work on themselves. They have to play or perform or do something. It's going to be dynamic. Or even pushing in relationships is going to be a dynamic factor, not passive. If it fixed, there's a tendency to be stubborn in your projection and stubborn in your response. I put out everybody's going to respond like that. That's the way it is. There's a tendency to resist change in how you output and change on your input. When it's in the mutable signs, a lot of times if you're just looking at marriage, you see if someone cardinal would be pushing for the marriage or the relationship. Someone fixed, they want to stabilize and anchor the relationship. Someone mutable often would have multiple choices and possibly multiple relationships. So the traditional meaning of a mutable sign on the descendant would usually be multiple partnerships or diversity in relationships. But it really is, it's about feedback from different people in different ways, and you're having to understand and transform the input. You're making association, you're using multiple choice and diversity to get a new perspective or a diverse perspective or adjust your perspective on what you put out and how you react to people. So they're easily adaptable in situations. So an easily adapt person takes, it's easy to adapt to the feedback. You tell something, they'll take it and then they'll react around, they'll adjust things. It's very different than someone that won't adjust it at all. And someone who's driving to make the reactions happen a certain way. Then you put the sun up in the 10th house, you give them a lot of authority, you'll start to see how this can be used or responded to. Usually it's a response, how you respond to other people's feedback, but it's also how other people dump feedback back on you to make it personal. Okay, fire, the pride in relationships, the air, the communication, need to communicate in relationships and need to express it. Water, to be emotional, impressionable, empathetic in your interaction and your feedback in response to others. Earth is trying not to show, just be practical. You said that, okay, it's practical. And the taking things in is done very matter of fact and practically, not so dramatically as if it were water or even fire. And the rulerships, again, it'll be the opposite rulership. If you have Venus ruling Taurus on the ascendant, you're going to have Mars on the descendant. So you're putting out sweetness, but you're getting jealousy and like the ascendant isn't always opposed to each other. So if you dress yourself to look so beautiful, what are you going to attract? You're going to attract somebody who wants to get all your clothes off and get you into bed with the Scorpio and the descendant. You can go through each sign like this and see what do you project, what comes back. So you can see it like that, but really you're projecting, it's not what comes back, it's how other people are responding to you, how you're taking things in. And in the process of the sensitive point of descendant, you take things in and how you respond, how it becomes personal and subjective where it can reach you. So if you want to reach someone, you're not looking at their ascendant, what they project, you're looking at the descendant, at how you can reach them so that something's going to go deep and they're going to take it seriously. And then it'll change their responses. Whew, now where are we at? Okay, we're at 9 o'clock. The rulerships, again, just going along this, it'll be the opposite. If it's the moon, the mother, and the family, you're going to be around marriage, and response is going to be very much based on family and personal responses. You're going to take everything personally, almost too much. If it's the sun, it's going to be about your confidence and you're having to, I got to be the best, and people are either responding it or not, and you'll take it personally from that. And the idea is a noble response is better than an ignoble response. If it's Mercury, an intelligent response. If it's Venus, it's going to be an emotional response, but I like what I want, and it can bring about beautiful response, being happy for response, a very nasty or discontent responses, complaining responses, because Venus can be, I'm not getting what I want, I don't like this, and you're having to move it to be balanced or more qualified. When it's Mars, you're going to be reacting physically. You're going to be competitive. You're going to react. You're going to argue. You're going to fight for your responses. You said that, that's not wrong. What? You're wrong. And then you'll blow up in your fight, and it'll come in, and you'll have to sleep on the fight or bother you, affect you during the night. till it reaches down to your motivation. But if you have Aries or Scorpio on the descendant, someone just talking to you is not going to be enough. If you're responding from an idea, you're just going to respond by having to get even or having to be act or compete with what they said. If it's Jupiter, you're going to have Mercury on one side, Jupiter on the other. You're going to be saying a lot. There'll be understanding and misunderstanding. Do you understand what someone said or why? Or do you exaggerate and misunderstand what they said and then overreact or take it in too much? If it's Saturn, you're going to be inhibited and defensive around that. So usually it means you're going to project out your feelings or your purpose with the Cancer or Leo ascendant. But if you have Aquarius or Capricorn on the descendant, you're going to be more cautious and defensive. There's going to be a serious factor or an age factor around relationships. You're going to be defensive in how you respond to people. Not personally, not going to try and show how you're responding. You'd be defensive in how you're responding, but you want the positive side. You want to be respected. You want to be acknowledged for the work you have. If someone's responding to the work you did, or your respect, or your sense of authority, well, that can bring good. If they're responding to it badly, that'll bring in the bad things. Did I do something wrong? Was I not responsible? It'll bring that deeper issues, that personal reflection, the feelings, like our dreams have to come up to help us deal with what happened in the day till we can come to our motivation, and inside of that say, well, what's next? What do I do next? So these are the angles. They're sensitive points. There's not a lot of books written about them, but they're so special. So we'll be doing the next webinar, start in January. We'll be doing the planets in the houses, and we'll be going through all the categories within the houses. Here we're looking at the signs just on the angles, which aren't the houses. They're the points, the key points in the day or in the house factor. But incredibly useful, a really nice addition. So now you need to you've done it for your own worksheets. Now you can probably go out and just check a few other people's, like while this week is there, we've just done it. Look at some people's motivation. Look and see how they're projected. See what they accomplished. See how they're working this database or this matrix of information. Okay, so we're done. Have a really wonderful solstice. Have a happy holidays. When I teach a chart, I know I'm not talking to you, but if no one were here and I had to talk to a wall, I can't do this because I know you're here and I'm talking to you. I'm working on it and I have someone to communicate with. It's easier for me to hold my continuity and get the information out to you as clear as I can. So, you know, this is how I teach. So the next class, similar. First 3 or 4 classes, all about getting your foundations, securing them so you can go deep when you need to. You can think in depth when you need to, in levels when you need to. And then when we start seeing the timings, we start to be able to be more selective of what's going on and when. But that starts in the 6th level. So just go slow, take your time. It'll develop properly. You got enough to work with now. So over this Christmas holiday, somebody gives you a present. What was their motivation? Why did they give you this present? Why didn't they give you that? Or just play with it. Look around at it, stretch it, make it yours. So I hope it will be staying on a Tuesday when we start in January. So if you're going on to it, it'd be nice for you if you can let me know if you're coming, or specifically if you're not coming, let me know. And we'll take it. So someone has a question here. 1 second. Can I see it? What date are we starting in? Okay. So Monday's the New Year. So it's too soon to start on the Tuesday. So I think that means we're going to be first on the 8th. On the Tuesday, the 8th, we'll start. Okay? Thanks. I really appreciate all of you being part of this, and I hope it's working well for you. I'll get the video and send it off to you again. So I'm just going to let it go for a week, and then I'll start setting it up between Christmas and New Year's and sending notices out and that. So we can take care of that then. But have a great holiday. Thank you. All the best. Okay.